Have you ever had the experience where you film a whole video or think that you're filming and you really just film the first part before you set the camera down? Yeah, I totally just did that. Okay, here's what I want to talk about. Why am I on YouTube? So here's the short story of it, is that YouTube was instrumental in helping me understand who I was as a person and how to define my identity as a transgender man. Now, when I was in high school, going way back, I didn't know any LGBTQ people at all that I know of. Like, I didn't have anybody in my circle of friends who identified within the community. Even in college, very few people. And I had a good friend from high school who came out to me my second year of school, and that was really my first interaction with having queer people in my life. At that time, it wasn't even on my radar that I myself would identify as queer, or that there was even a term for how I would identify my gender. To be totally honest with you, it's just something that I never thought about. And I think I was intentional about never thinking about it because I knew that it didn't align with my peers, but I didn't have the language or terminology for it, and I didn't want to be different. I didn't want to be othered in a way. I've always had a very strong sense of who I was as a person. For as long as I can remember, I've just always been me. I've always felt like me, and it was never a problem until it was. It was never a problem until people, mostly adults, would tell me, hey, little girls don't act like that, or little girls don't wear their hats backwards, or like certain things. And I didn't really understand it as a kid because I was like, well, you're telling me that I'm a little girl and I like to skateboard, so little girl skateboard. And I didn't really put together this concept of the gender constructs and expectations, but also just what I was innately attracted to as a person, what felt comfortable for me, and where I fit in. I didn't have the language for that until after college. So while I always felt the same way about myself, even throughout school, even when I started to get these messages that what I was doing was wrong, I still felt the same way. There were some periods of time where I tried to correct that behavior, to act a little bit more stereotypically in a way that would not draw attention to myself, and it felt so inauthentic. I remember buying a shirt that I think my mom took me shopping, and I picked out this shirt that was just like pink tie-dye or something, like pink and purple. I remember wearing it one time and being like, I can never wear that again. It just didn't feel right for me. I busied myself all through college so that I wouldn't have to think about my gender identity. And I really think that when I was faced with leaving school, leaving college and moving to my freshman year of life, that I lost all those parts of my identity that I used to sort of fill that void of thinking about who I was really as a person. So I lost my extracurricular activities, and I lost my identity as a student, and I lost a lot of my friendships because I moved away. I needed to really understand who I was as a person. Now, I didn't have the language or terminology about transgender identity until I moved in with my partner. And my partner, in the very best ally way, presented me with information and presented me with opportunities to explore information on my own. It was more like a gentle guiding me in the right way to see the things that I needed to see for myself, as opposed to telling me that this is who I was, which I so greatly appreciated, because it was really like the most gentle way of providing access so that I could make my own informed decision of who I was. The way that YouTube comes into this is that even in Los Angeles, California, in New York City, I didn't know any trans people in real life. Like, for a very long time, I didn't have somebody whose name and face I could assign to the identity of being transgender. For me, it was like a foreign concept, and what I did see on the media was not positive representations. What I knew was caricatures of trans people. It was trans people as the butt of a joke, and really making fun of and invalidating our identities. So what I was missing in my experience as I was getting all of this information from books was having someone who I could see, like a visual representation of someone who is transgender. So I found it through YouTube. My community, it wasn't really my community because I wasn't really a part of the community. I was a creeper. I was like viewing all these videos. I felt like I knew everybody, but I wasn't actively participating, leaving comments or anything like that because I was afraid. I didn't want people to see my name on somebody's video and call me out on it before I was ready to tell them. So I did a lot of research on YouTube. It was so incredibly impactful to see people documenting their transitions and their stories in different ways. Like, here's what I'm thinking pre-transition. Here, I'm going to start testosterone, and here's how I got it. And here are the steps that I had to take to do that. People were changing their names and coming out at school and telling parents and telling friends. And all of these different experiences were documented right here on YouTube. And that was really where I felt like I had insight as to what to expect, what might happen, what might be possible for me. Now, there were two parts that were missing that I wish that I would have had. And the first one was professionals. A lot of the folks who were documenting their transition when I was watching were much younger than me. I was 27, 28, 29 when I was watching this, and I was seeing people who were in college and some high schoolers sharing their experiences. It was still super helpful, but I wanted to know what the experience might be from someone who has been in a job for 5 years, who has a career path already started. So I was missing that piece. And then I was also missing the athlete piece. I didn't see any athletes, didn't see any transgender men who were competing against men at a high level. And that's really what I wanted to do if I transitioned. I wanted to continue to be a competitive athlete, and I wasn't sure if it would be possible. I didn't see athletes in general, actually. There were some people who were getting back into fitness, but more of like individual fitness, not competing against other people. And that was something that was really important to me, that I wish that I would have seen someone, because I really think it's true that if you can see it, you can be it. We love to see visual examples, which is why I think it's so important for me to be out and proud and visible as a transgender athlete so that other people see me and know that they can do it. So that is the long reason of why I decided to join on YouTube, that I want to continue to share in a way that's public, as I have since 2010, but I know that this is a way that was really helpful for me to do a lot of exploring and understanding of my own identity, and to feel like I wasn't so isolated and alone. Even though I never really talked to people, I just thought it was a way for me to feel like there were other people out there like me. And so I want people to know there are other people out there like you. While my story has been pretty well publicized outside of YouTube, I think this is just a great platform to reach other people, and I know it was impactful for me, so maybe some of this will be helpful for other people. So that is the reason why I'm on YouTube, and YouTube is pretty awesome. It's the second, maybe the biggest search engine now. It's just a wealth of information, and so maybe I can add to that a little bit. And if not, it's a fun experiment for me. So here I am on YouTube. It was extremely helpful for me in my transition, and that's the goal for these videos. So yeah, YouTube. All right, that's it.